pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Pineapple, looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice.
What happened, Washington? All those bullet holes in your jacket. How are you alive?
I don't know.
You have no military service.
And it's just around the bend.
You are a boy. You are not British, yet they send you to speak for them. So that when you fail, they'll have someone to blame.
Young Washington, you lost in the New World.
Who does own this land, if not the one who has the will to tame it? You do not want to start a war. What do we do? We fight! Hold your ground!
Yeah.
There is no retreat!
What are you called?
My name is George Washington.
Yes!
Help us
Life.
make this the #1 movie on America's 250th. Pre-order
Yes,
tickets
I will do
at
that. Angel Studios. I will help to make that the #1 video. I hope you guys will too. My name is George Washington. Finally, a not woke American Revolution story, and just in time for the 250th anniversary. I'm so freaking excited. I know we're not supposed to be happy. I know it's not cool to love America anymore, but god dang it, I love this country. And if you don't, you can just go to hell. Get to hell. You don't like America? Get out of here. Bafangul. This is the Wake Up America show. We love America here on this show. You want to fight about it? Let's go. I'm ready. I'll take all comers. Good morning, America. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. It wouldn't be the Wake Up America show without Thor Mock, Jimmy Joe Patty, enjoyer of fine coffees from the Freedom Shop, Joni Rankin, Dad Bod Baboon. We're all just hanging out naked. Well, I just picture you guys naked at home, so. No, I don't. What? Get on track. There are more people praising Taylor Swift this week than there are praising President Trump for freeing hostages from Hamas. That's because more people care about ass. I'm sorry to say. Even the men are giving in like, the Diary of a Showgirl. She's posting some hot pics, man. Tell you what, some of my old female ladies have gotten a little long in the tooth like Demi Moore, so I need that fresh Taylor Swift. And she's marrying Travis Kelce. He's a football hero, yeah. Are you ready for some football? No, it's not that anymore. It's now da-da-da-da-da-da. What's like the official country song of football these days? The NFL, can somebody tell me? You're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself. Austin, keep your mouth shut. We love the NFL. We stand the NFL. Let me tell you something. You know who I love? I love the NFL. You know what's nice about the NFL is that when you get to do live reads for the NFL, like you don't kind of understand, guys. You probably heard me reading some great live reads for the NFL. No matter how you feel about football, right? Or you're a theater nerd or a loser or dweeb or what have you. The one thing that you could say about American football is that it's decidedly, I mean, to some extent, non-controversial. Now, I know there are a lot of people who are hung up on the drama of the NFL, but everybody wants to be associated with the brand. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing as American football, except American baseball, but we don't watch it anymore. But you can't say that you can't say that, Blake Company. I love playing sports. Yes, the NFL has made Brad, the gambling addict, some good money in 5 weeks. It's on my good side so far. Just be very careful because nobody wants to have a sad Brad. We work very hard for the money, and it's our choice to do it. But I lose mine in blackjack, so. What about you? How do you feed your monkeys on your backs out there? You live in vice. You look at Taylor Swift videos. You watch football. You're all just loaded with vice and sin. I know. That's why you say Jesus is your savior. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. We're going to stir our coffee with facts, fire, and the occasional fruit-based metaphor. We are going to enjoy delicious pineapples today. The amount of people who think that the pineapple on this show is because it has something to do with some kind of freaky deaky stuff it's unfathomably high, but I promise it's not. It's just a pineapple. We just like pineapples on this show. They're beautiful. They're kind of like us, kind of like me. You know, I'm a little spiky on the outside, right? I could be a little rude perhaps, but on the inside, I'm sweet, just and absolutely delicious. Am I not? Here's a headline the media won't shout at you. Donald Trump, the guy who they called a warmonger, a racist, a dictator, Adolf Hitler. Peace in the Middle East. Peace in the Middle East. Congratulations, Hitler. Somebody called me a fascist today for voting for Trump, and I'm just like, okay, then I guess according to you, I'm a fascist. And according to me, you are a dumbass. I swear to God. You think libertarians have this attitude that they're smarter than everybody else. They're not. And a lot of them, maybe even most of them, are dumber than pretty much the average person. I'm sorry to say, it's not me, it's you. Do you know anybody got the balls to tell people the truth to their face? Not many. That's why some of you pay me $17.76 a month, right? So I can say the things that you can't.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh. Money-wise. Please.
Can you suck it?
What? If Larry Legend 420 is here for the first time, can we all get a woot woot and a thank you for joining us? When you join the Wake Up America show, you're joining a little wild, a little woolly. We got a lot of goats in this community and a little wet, but stop making everything about sex, right? It's not the pineapples. Wild, woolly, wet isn't some metaphor. It's a family show. PG-13. Welcome to Wake Up America, and thanks for tuning in. And if today is your first time watching, like Larry Legend 420, I'm guessing, then click the follow button before you go live. Before we go live, you should get a notification right when we pop up. So that way you'll know when we're live. But just memorize the schedule. It's easy. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. We need more regular guests. We need to grow this community of sane, rational, liberty-loving, pro-American people. First time for the 29th time. Okay, good. Well, glad to have you here, Legend. And I'd love to see your comments more in the chat. So yeah, Donald Trump, he's Hitler, but he puts together a peace plan in the Middle East that I don't think even Hitler had the strategic capability to pull off. Not Biden, not the United Nations, right? It's not the soy boys in the EU. Oh, we will send you a strongly worded letter, and we will tell you we're angry. You really pissed me off, Hans Briss. Rory. How many ways can I get myself canceled in under a minute? John and KC is here with us. That means the show can go on. Finally. Trump did it. He did, and he did it without dragging us into a new war. Where's all the flag-draped bodies that we were told were going to be coming home because of the bombing of Iran? Where did those go? Or seems like a few conservatives who aren't necessarily all that happy about the end of the Gaza war. I think we all know who, Miss Candace Owens. Now, save your tomatoes today. Real Kira Davis is going to join us on the show today at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. It's going to be such a good show today. So good. I've got so many fantastic guests for you. You've got Camellia and you've got Kira. How many ladies of liberty do you even see on shows like these? Especially not one after another. You know, Austin packs it up. He books the best guests and gets you a take from the ladies' side of things. My audience is like 90% men. But suddenly the ladies come on and it's like, oh, we're all paying attention. Hi, gorgeous. Ooh, you guys are simps. Simps, I swear. Every one of you, control yourselves, men. Adopt stoicism. Castrate yourself. Just kidding. Never do that. But hang out with Ike Giving a Shits, L-Dubs, Quest Fanning, and John and KC, and you're going to feel more like a man, I'll tell you. More in control of your faculties. This head is the one that's in control over here. That's right. Donald Trump, much the same way. He's got the testosterone, but he's got a brain. He didn't drag us into a new war. There was no return of flag-draped coffins. With an important caveat, an asterisk on all of this, of course, on head of it, right? And instead of cheers from some quarters, crickets, right? Instead of celebration, contortion, right? The left has twisted itself into a pretzel, and the Never Trumpers, to try to figure out how to explain away the fact that the guy that they said would start World War III just ended a war and saved innocent lives in arguably the most difficult conflict zone in the world. Congratulations. Thank you, President Trump. People are calling me, literally called me fascist yesterday for voting for the guy. And I'm like, are you crazy? Are you insane? Like, do you care about peace at all? The truth is, many of them, they're snakes. They don't really care about peace at all. They don't care about peace. Either they care about the revolution or they care about their agenda. They don't actually care about peace in the Middle East. They're liars. I got so many people I know I could name that would call themselves anti-war. But as soon as Russia storms across a regional line, all of a sudden the borders that they were so sure are the strictest of the borders, right? Oh, well, when Russia crosses the border, it's all good, comrade. Must save innocent Russians from evil Ukrainians. Yeah, like, what was it, Norway or Finland? There's that World War II propaganda poster where Stalin is cracking his whip, and it's got, I think it's perhaps Finland or Norway, where it's this little slight, blonde lady, and he's like, you attack me, villain, right? Does anybody remember the World War II history? Did you pay attention to it? Was I the only one who thought these stories were fascinating as a young man? So many people who are like catching up. Pips, don't you hate being lectured by people who just like woke up yesterday? It's so freaking annoying. Do you ever have somebody come up to you and they have no freaking clue what's going on, and they're like, hey, I think the Federal Reserve might not actually be a legitimate institution in the United States. Have you ever had that happen? And then they proceed to lecture you on fiat money? Oh my God. Sometimes I go to these presentations and they're like, Bitcoin. And I'm like, Bitcoin, excuse me? Are you going to give me a lecture? Okay. I have to sit here and be polite to you. But to be honest, I mean, don't ask for my opinion because you're going to get it. I had somebody ask for my opinion the other day. I'm like, are you sure? Somebody said yesterday, they're like, I'm glad that Judge Napolitano has a much higher amount of people following him than you. I know you tried to ride Judge Napolitano's coattails, but I'm glad. But it's not that so much that you guys differ on policy. It's his approach that I find much better. I find you off-putting. I'm not for everybody. It's true. But ask me no more questions and I'll tell you no more lies. The end to the war in the Middle East? Probably not, because why? What do you mean, Austin? No, you're just praising Trump. I think Trump has done a fantastic job here, but we're talking about Israel. We're talking about surrounded by 20 plus Arab nations, 22 Arab nations. grok me. The number of hostile Arab nations surrounding Israel that all are intent on their destruction, and Trump gets the Arab nations and Israel together, bashes out a ceasefire, pop, one and done. He's right that Biden and his weakness led to Russia crossing boundary lines, moving into Ukraine, a conflict, thousands dead, all because we didn't accept that America is a nation that keeps peace through strength. Reagan understood it. Some people don't understand it, though. A lot of people are not trusting the plan. And while I can say legitimately that I disagree with tariffs or like certain tertiary issues, for the people who live their lives on the anti-war train, if they're not happy right now, that's the sign of the wolf in the sheep's clothing. That's the Fabian, that's the socialist, or that's the, some kind of like acid dropping anarcho-capitalist who thinks he's doing the world a favor by standing up for Islamo-fascists. I'm standing up for rights. Meanwhile, Hamas is working up. He's like, oh, there's the gay libertarian. Cut his throat. Throw his head in the river. Ha. God damn. My speech in Colorado this Saturday night is coming up. Man, I'm flying to Colorado. Please don't shoot me in the neck. I just want to talk. I just want to have a conversation. And while I'm not a little goody two-shoes like Charlie Kirk was, God rest his soul, we love Charlie Kirk over here. We stand Charlie Kirk. Always did, always have. I'm not like a lot of bullshitters who talk shit about Charlie Kirk in public and called him out over this or that. I generally supported Charlie Kirk and his work, and worked with Turning Point USA several times. A big poster with my face on it over there from a Turning Point group in Nebraska. Good people, great people, who don't deserve the treatment of so many backstabbers who have got the knives are out for Turning Point USA. And let me tell you something. Nick Fuentes is not as smart. Tucker Carlson, they're not as smart as everybody is trying to paint them as. Let me show you my good buddy, Gavin McInnes, a man whom I have great respect for. I'm very fond. Watch him deconstruct a popular NatCon, perhaps you might say, or just Groyper talking point regarding the attack, the Israeli attack on an American ship, the USS Liberty. Listen to this brief little deconstruction.
They blow up, but Israel, they blow up our ship, and we don't do anything.
The USS Liberty?
Mm-hmm. That's just one example.
I think that was a friendly fire.
Brother. my white brother.
I mean, what makes you think it wasn't?
Because they were flying a giant American flag. They radioed.
It's not giant when you're in a fighter jet going. Meow.
Well, the people on the boat said it was unmistakable. They knew what they were doing. They came in and shot the lifeboats.
The people on the boat are mad because all their friends died.
They got shot.
We're not allowed to use the people on the boat.
Yeah.
That's like when people go, what if your daughter was raped?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I wouldn't be rational at that point. But it looked like an Egyptian boat. I don't understand why you'd want to provoke an attack when you're in a 6-day war with all these other countries, why you'd want to get America against you too. They approached the USS Liberty first and got shot at, so they couldn't verify. So the only really proof we have is the little flag, which from a fighter jet is not easily identified.
We also have the eyewitness testimony, which I agree maybe there's a bias, but they do all claim to this day that it was a deliberate attack. They said that they radioed in, they waved the flag.
Don't you think if your daughter were murdered, if something like that happened?
And the purpose, why would they do it? It was to conceal their troop movements, because when they were doing the 6-day war, they didn't want their operations to be foiled.
What was America even doing there? They said they weren't going to be there. They denied their existence there.
Yes.
We were spying on them.
Okay, so we have no evidence. Well, I'm saying we. They have no evidence that the.
Careful.
We have no evidence that the boat was even going to be there. What are you doing? We're not going to be
Gavin.
there. A boat approaches. They get attacked. They fly over. It looks exactly like an Egyptian boat. And friendly fire kills 30 people. They killed 12 Israeli soldiers in that war by accident. They're regularly killing their own hostages.
Well, that's their doctrine. That's their military doctrine, is to kill their own hostages.
Right, but their own killing their own people, killing people that they weren't killing the hostages when they weren't prepared to kill the hostages. Too early, I guess, is what I'm saying. But, friendly fire is part of war. Vietnam, we lost tens of thousands of troops. And it was very unfortunate. I don't think it's a good example of Israel attacking us. I think I think there's more evidence that it was friendly fire.
Oh, man. Well done, Gavin McInnes. Yeah, I've always just thought Gavin McInnes was a brilliant thinker, speaker, innovator, entrepreneur, leader, just mad respect. And he has not gotten the credit he deserves. He has not been taken advantage of enough. If I had a campaign, a presidential campaign, I would take someone like Gavin McInnes and I would put them in some kind of a communications role or duty or something like that. Maybe the administration feels like he's better on the outside, but I think quite frankly, it's a waste of Gavin McInnes' talents. He really is a rare. It's not just that he is so intelligent. It's that Gavin fights. Gavin is a warrior. You need him on that line. You want him on that line. And he'll make the right better. So that we can make better arguments. I'm telling you, a lot of this crap with libertarians falling apart here in the United States and everybody thinking they're a bunch of gobbledygook is because there's no iron that's sharpening iron. Like the internecine squabbles of libertarians, the reason why libertarians have gone retarded is because they are so intellectually inbred. Do you understand that when I had my debate with Dave Smith, they thought it was funny that I said, you need to talk to people outside of your own ideological bubble in order to understand what other people's arguments are so that you can argue better against them. But the sneering, snide, stupid, sniveling of, you need fewer neocon friends, Austin. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Travel the world. It is fatal to prejudice and bigotry. Mark Twain, fellow Missourian. Let's hear it for AP for Liberty and his libertarian nationalist movement. We launch it this Saturday in Denver, Colorado. I want to hear you cheer this morning for an American libertarian nation. Small L. I'm a member of the Republican Party. In 2016, I ran for president of the United States as a third party. I was a libertarian for 10 years before that. I didn't just show up and say, I'm going to run for president. I did the yeoman's work. I've knocked on doors. I've canvassed. I have, phone banked, set up phone banks, run phone banks, run operations in dingy little holes in Chelsea, New York City, and in other locations as well. 1,000-man operations of volunteers, contributors, raised $1 million for Ron Paul. I've been in the trenches. And if you've been a follower of mine for, let's just say, you know what? Let's give it even like a year, 2 years. If you've been a follower for more like 365 solid days, if you've been an AP for Liberty supporter, let's hear it. Some of you even go way farther back. Quest Fanning, I know, and many others for sure. L-Dub's absolutely an OG. So let's hear it for the OGs. Some of you know my history. Some of you don't. I've lost thousands of followers in the last couple of weeks. And I have also gained some thousands, although there's a considerable loss for speaking out in defense of what I consider to be basic Western civilization values. That's what I've been standing up for. Reason, logic, sanity. I'm sick and tired of allowing the paranoid schizophrenics to dominate the conversation. We've taken the mentally ill in American society and we have lionized to such a point that we've given them control of left, right, and everything in between. We used to have a joke. The libertarians, we would hear the joke. The Republicans, when I would go to conservative events, they would say, Republicans, we take our crazies and we put them in the back rooms and we have them licking stamps. The libertarians run theirs for office. It was true. It's true then, it's true today. Nothing's changed. I just want to build a sane, rational, healthy, positive, optimistic, non-schizophrenic, paranoid, conspiracy, truther, scars, scooper tard movement. I'm not, and what's amazing is that I do all of this and I'm like, listen, I know I say you're being exclusionary, you know, this kind of stuff. It's like, yes, it's addition through subtraction. But people are like, you're trying to silence. Somebody said, some very stupid person said, you're trying to silence other people. And it's like, what are you talking about? People cannot, when they hear an opposing opinion, they cannot, your opinion, just because it exists, they think that you're trying to cancel them out simply the fact that you don't agree with them. This is where this authoritarian attitude comes from. It's like, you're trying to take control of me by disagreeing with me, when in reality, all I'm doing, I'm just disagreeing with you, man. I'm just saying you're wrong. I'm not trying to silence anyone because you disagree with me. It's just that, people aren't used to this. The conspirators have gone unchecked. Bill Buckley, who is, I guess, persona non grata, built a successful and powerful conservative movement. We're in a danger zone where when Trump leaves, MAGA, it's dead. It's not anything without Trump. You can say MAGA, be MAGA. It's going to fall apart like the Tea Party is. Many of these institutions are going to suck up millions of dollars in the years after Trump steps down or retires. And the new Republican Party, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be what we make it. Let's make it a libertarian nationalist party. Oh, yeah, that's right. I said it. And you know what we ought to do? We ought to get in there. We ought to run for the city council races. You ought to run for your local office. Just a simple alderman position. Don't try and go crazy, run for mayor or something like that. But if you think you can, yeah, do it. But we need to get rational, sane, liberty-loving, constitutionalist Americans into office. My pledge to the sons of the American Revolution, we descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution who by their sacrifice established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in the principles of liberty in our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against every foe. God bless America. God bless America. And may God damn her enemies. Friends of America, the brilliant Camelia Peterson joins me this morning to unpack the stunning silence from the Free Palestine crowd now that freedom has actually arrived. Oh, what happened? Oh, what happened? Delivered by the man they love to hate. Oh, that's Donald Trump. No, not Donald Trump. We can't. God. No, God, please, no. Trump negotiated the peace. They can't stand it. They can't stand it. They hate him so much. And the Trump derangement syndrome suffers as well. Who was the chick on The View? Somebody owes Donald Trump a wearing of a MAGA hat. I think I had a similar conversion where I said, Trump does this, I'm putting on the MAGA hat. And I think he did it. And then I had to put on the MAGA hat. Now we sell them in our store. He had me at Free Ross.
My point when I say I'm not going to be apocalyptic, it's not changing a tune. It's not making every single thing a 5-alarm fire. Yeah. If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head. But like you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing.
Well, yeah, she wouldn't be able to survive long on that network if she kept saying things like that. But guess, do you think she's going to do it? You think she's going to put on the MAGA hat? I bet she doesn't. The Libertarian Nationalist Movement. What does it look like? You can find out. It's easy. Do you still read, huh? You ignorant. Do you guys still read, huh? You know how to read, huh? People don't read anymore, man. They don't read. I think there was Denzel Washington. He said, people who don't read have no advantage over people who can't. Or maybe that was Mark Twain. Again, Mark Twain twice on this show. Guys, don't forget to help to unlock the bonus content. And we'd love to earn our keep. I think we are.
Bless me with something. Oh, gosh. Money-wise. Please. Can you suck it? What?
Join the fight for liberty with our Libertarian Nationalist Movement. Head over to forlibertyshop.com. We call it the Grift Shop out of firmly tongue-in-cheek. Tongue-in-cheek. But if you type in thegriftshop.com, it will redirect you there. Two twains between us. Check out the Liberty Shop. Somebody already did this morning. Looks like they went over and got their Halloween costumes. People, you just now are starting to get your Halloween orders in. There's a reason why we do advertising on the show. Get over to the Grift Shop. You're insane if you don't buy your shirt now. I'm print on demand. I can't do it. I don't hold an inventory in the house, but that might change if we continue to grow. And we are growing. Good God, golly almighty, guys. I can't find a good hire to save my life here. I need somebody to step in and help me to run the Liberty Shop over here on the Wake Up America show. We need talented people to step up and take a role in the fight for liberty, to join our movement and to become a merch master. I'll teach you how to make $1 million. But I need somebody who's willing to learn, who's tech savvy, who can understand AI, who wants to get involved with a business like this, a boutique industry for sure. But you get it on the ground floor, and 3, 4, 5 years from now, you could be like me, sitting at the top of your empire of liberty and capitalism. Let's hear what you guys have got going on in your mind. Send us a text. 573-319-1586 is the text line. Keep me informed of what's going on, Brad. We got to get that bonus content rolling. BB for Liberty. Wake up. Why don't you put on a little makeup? But yes, we do actually want to hire someone here who can really be a fantastic individual to step in and take up a leadership role to an extent. And it is, it's commerce, obviously. It's e-commerce. But the shop really does keep everything going. It is a key driver of growth for what we are doing. And maybe you know someone who wants merch for themselves if they're Liberty or Liberty adjacent. Then we also offer our services contractually. Did you guys know that I teach an AI course to teach you how to do what I'm doing right now to help make you rich? Look at these books we wrote. They're on Amazon.com right now. Our family, they can't decide if we're nuts or if we're geniuses because we're writing children's books. This one's about Javier Milei. Yeah. And this is our third children's book. We're really excited to announce it. Javier Milei's got a crucial election coming up. If you know who he is, president of Argentina, certainly he is a big fan of the Wake Up America show. He shared us many times out to his millions of followers. That's so much so now that I have like 10% almost of my audience on Twitter is Argentina. That's okay. They're good. They're good people. They are real. They really are. Shout out to anybody from Argentina this morning who found us through Javier Milei. This is a passion project for us. It's not just about capitalism, but we're not just talking about capitalism from philosophical principles. We're putting into action, and we're one of the few who are actually winning. We're one of the few libertarian movements in the United States that's winning, that's got a toehold. And you guys are all part of it. You're all amazing. Thank you for everyone who's helped us get to where we are right now. Going on 3 years plus the Wake Up America show and the associated properties like Culturama and Liberty Tonight. We'll be glad to have Daniela on tonight at 7 p.m. Central. Rumble.com/Culturama. If you haven't followed her yet, please do so. And our boys at rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Barney Stiles says it's the best morning show ever. Damn straight. But please do support us and go to the Grift Shop this morning, thegriftshop.com. Buy something from the Halloween collection. They've got a spin to win. It's kind of fun where you can get either $5 off your next order, 15% off, 10% off, or a free t-shirt. And you just spin the little clicker right there. So really easy and really fun and funny. So enjoy. Got it? Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, Camelia Peterson joins us live at 8 a.m. Central. She's going to talk about the Gaza ceasefire. She's going to talk to us about other things as well. But at 8:30 this morning, I'm kind of excited to talk to Kira Davis. She worked with Ben Shapiro. She had warned about Candace Owens that she might be a little cuckoo. And now Ben Shapiro, who basically created to some extent Candace Owens, although not, I won't say originally. There was a lot of people involved in that. Dennis Prager, Kanye West, of all people, who... Did anybody see the interview with Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones yesterday? They were talking about Kanye West. Does anybody remember that one?
I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's disturbed.
Yeah.
And I think he got screwed over in business. I think a lot of what he said was true. But he'd be like, I'm flying to Austin to come on the show. And then halfway through, he'd call up and say, I think they're going to kill me. I'm turning back. And then next time, a couple times he said that, I didn't believe he'd be there. So he flies in one night. I take him to a nice hotel. He doesn't like it, leaves, middle of the night. I didn't babysit him. I dropped him off, left. And he went to some downtown hotel. Next day, my show's starting at 11 a.m. Central. And I'm like, okay, see you in Vaughn. That's fine. Start my show. He pulls up wearing a GIMP mask. And I said, look, you can wear it for a while, but you need to take it off.
Do you have a lot of guests with GIMP masks on?
No, I don't. and so he just goes on and says he loves Hitler over and over again, which I guess it like presses on the nerve of edgelording.
Yeah, no.
So it's like, I'm being bad. That only goes so far. And then I think I understood why he was wearing the mask.
Why?
Well, after the show, he goes back there and pulls the mask off to eat salad. And the pupils were just pure black.
Oh. So what's that from? Just being high. Someone comes
that's your conservative MAGA leader. He's not a leader. We didn't listen to him. Him and Candace Owens together. We didn't worship them. We didn't put events together for him when the he's high as blazes.
But it's ecstasy, I think, might do it. I don't know. I was like, he was, I've never seen anybody with pure black pupils.
Really?
He pulled it off. It was like glowing. He was just, and I was like, he's sitting there eating a salad going, and I went, oh, now I understand what's going on. I don't know. Maybe, maybe a bunch of methamphetamine mixed with acid, they say could do it.
At least they aren't like the libertarians and give it to 5-year-olds. Guys, what is wrong with you? I'm sorry I like Candace. I used to not like her, but she has the receipts. Oh, Jennifer, we love you. I have many conspiracy crazy friends. I just want you all to know. I give them a hard time, but I too listened to Alex Jones in 2008 when he was the only person who would put Ron Paul on the radio. And I liked Ron Paul and I wanted to hear him, and Alex would have him on almost every day. So I have a lot of conspiracy kook friends, and they don't like it when I say, fluoride in the water is probably not going to turn the frickin' frogs gay or things like that. But I think the problem is that the conspiracy stuff, you should probably be licking stamps in the back. You probably shouldn't be in a leadership position. And I know that's an offensive thing to say, but talk to normal people every once in a while, right? I think the problem with the liberty movement that's so conspiracy crazy is that there's probably a lot of drug use and a lot of shut-ins. And you get them angry people on drugs in positions, they're going to spread chaos online and they project their mental illnesses, and they're saying, they're pointing at all the stuff, and they're like, Kanye is actually based, right? Candace has the receipts. See, I told you I could roast you. But look at, for example, what Gavin McInnes just did to Nick Fuentes. Deconstructed the entire USS Liberty. Can't tell you how many hard libertarian dicks I've seen swinging about the USS Liberty. I'm like, you're all retards. You don't need to be. I'm the libertarian that you take and you introduce to mother, because in polite company, I know how to be a normal person. Isn't it nice to have a normal person sometimes around that you don't think is going to shoot you in the face because JFK's magic bullet theory from a fictional movie written by a communist who hated America, Oliver Stone, got a important ballistic fact wrong. Magic bullet theory. It hit Charlie Kirk in the neck, and it's like the architects for 9/11 Truth, the engineers that they trot out to talk about 9/11 Truth, and it'll be like, what kind of engineers? Oh, it's the electrical engineer. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. We're talking about, like, there's gradings and rankings of our engineers. Well, what, are you trusting the experts? Remember when Tucker Carlson walked out of the Ron Paul rally for the Republic in 2008? Does anybody remember that? I was there. Ron Paul's rally for the Republic in Minnesota. Was anybody else there? Let's see. I love getting told my politics by the adventures of people who just started paying attention. Tucker Carlson stormed out of that convention. He was so mad at us. He's furious, actually, and left we libertarians in the lurch because Jesse Ventura said that 9/11 was an inside job in his speech at this crowd in Minnesota. And I remember at that point in 2008 looking around and seeing the reactions of people. I'm like, oh man, we are in deep, deep shit. But Tucker didn't really change. He just chased the move. He just followed the movement. He didn't abandon his. I won't say he did change, but he didn't abandon his principles because his principles are just to stoke as much fear and division and pain and suffering on his fellow Americans as possible and distract, divide, and try and separate evangelical conservatives who are the only, I would say not the only, but maybe the one of the only voting blocks that consistently vote Republican and wants to separate those from even conservative Jews who wish to be a part of the Republican Party, like Miriam Adelson and others. It's an interesting time that we find ourselves in because I feel as if we're struggling with the adventures of people who just paid attention, at times minus the Tylenol Americans, minus the paranoid schizophrenics. And we've taken the strategy of saying, Trump's a crazy bastard, let's elect him for president of the United States, to Trump's a crazy bastard, let's find the craziest bastard everywhere that we can and run that paranoid schizophrenic for leadership. No, I'm sorry. I will not be ruled over by psychotic depressive people who are probably many of them on SSRIs or like Kanye West, the eyes blown out. No offense, but if you got the Kanye West GIMP mask profile pic, Larry, I love you, brother, but what are we doing? Yes, and I Give a Shit says, Tucker has been on all sides of all issues. Yes, and I read a lot of books on like power and strategy. And essentially what you do is in order to triangulate, in order to fool the common folk, you can fool the people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Tucker has been on all sides of all issues. Correct. Is you take the side of the issue that polls at that time. And then people, because they forget and their minds are, people have 3-second guppy memories, they won't remember when you took a different position at a different time. And then nobody watches the news enough to be like, oh, caught in a lie. They might see it and then be like, some people might see that or whatever. Most people are just paying attention. Most people aren't doing what we're doing, which is trying to be the sheepdog to keep the wolves away from the flock. That's our job as libertarians. But if I were Russia, if I were China, it wouldn't be hard to move in and buy off half of the libertarian movement, and then the other half, you just send them conspiracy theory shit so that they get distracted and they're focused on chasing false myths. They go down rabbit holes, get them addicted to drugs, fentanyl, all that shit. And then you can use the libertarian movement becomes a node of foreign powers and malign powers here domestically, our enemies, foreign and domestic. Halboyne asked, do you still like Massey? Yes, I do still like Massey, and I just don't agree with him on some of the Israel positions that he takes. And I can understand why. I can understand why he doesn't like AIPAC. They work against him. You got beef. I got beef with people. But I think that sometimes it seems as if his judgment is clouded by his anger. It's kind of like the USS people like Gavin McInnes was saying earlier, the people who are on the boat for the USS Liberty, right? They're the victims, and therefore they're going to be emotional. So you can't necessarily take their testimony for 100%, right? If somebody killed and raped your daughter, you'd be irrational, right? So in terms of, you have to understand like the complex way I see these things, which is that Massey is a net positive, even if I disagree with it. It's like how I see Trump. How I see Massey and Trump. I like them both. I support Trump and Massey, even when they fight. I might support Massey more when they fought, and I certainly have. You can go back and check the public records. I've always stood with Massey, and I don't agree with a lot of my new allies, Republican, MAGA, populist friends. I don't agree with them when they attack Thomas Massey over certain things. But I do think that the American libertarian policy, the American libertarian foreign policy, has gone even in a direction that libertarians maybe 15 years ago certainly I'm a libertarian for 15 years and more. So if I would find to be obnoxiously uninformed. And you could say what you want to say about ideology and doctrine and orthodoxy, and Rothbard said this, and Hayek said this, and Mises said this, but like, who the fuck is talking about what's happening now? Those men are all dead. They're not dealing with the problems of our age. It's like when people do revisionist history, and I love Walter Block and I appreciate him, but when he said that Rothbard would like Javier Milei, I'm like, you don't know what time it is, actually, Walter Block. Excommunicate from the Mises Institute for being a Jew, for the crime of being a Jew, supporting Israel, expurgated his records of writing lengthy writings. No one is more anarchist than Walter Block, the man who came up with the theory of evictionism when it comes to pregnancies as an alternative to abortion. You can't kill the baby, but you can evacuate it from your womb, Walter Block. Not libertarian enough because he's a dirty Jew. Just be honest. There's anti-Semitism out there, and they're all fucking retards, aren't they? They're all fucking retards. They are. 100% to a man. When they're not Muslim terrorists or socialist, communist, leftists, and Antifa. Saddest thing ever in the legacy is to see it. But Murray Rothbard endorsed that kind of stuff. Murray Rothbard marched with Maoist communists. He suggested alliances with Black Panthers. He loved Hitler-loving Dixie Confederate racist rednecks. He allied with them. He teamed up with them. He loved Pat Buchanan. Rothbard did, but he would have hated Javier Milei because the American libertarian movement is consumed by a strange, virulent form of anti-Semitism that is attached to Israel. It comes into the Jewish banking conspiracies and the Federal Reserve and the Creature. If you've read The Creature from Jekyll Island, if you've hung around these circles like I have, after a while, you realize that they don't actually see anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism, but they just spent the last 20 minutes railing against the Jews. Okay, well, maybe in your case it is. Don't piss on my leg and tell me I'm raining. It's raining, right? I'm here. I'm in the rooms. I see them. I'm a rational, sane, normal, healthy American living a rational, sane, non-paranoid schizophrenic, a very, very skeptical person with a very, very open mind. And I'm not controlled by anybody. You want to know who pulls the strings around here? You want to know who funds the show? You, the Wake Up America show viewers and listeners. And for 3 long years, you've kept us going. I'm giving a speech this weekend in Denver, Colorado. If you're finally ready to say goodbye to the crazies, if you're ready to say goodbye to the child heroin dealers, if you're ready to say goodbye to the people who dance naked on stages, if you're ready to say goodbye to the people who sex work is the best thing in the world and it needs to be front and center in everybody's faces, if you're a drag queen, what if the child consents though? Type, stay away. If the idea of nationalism scares you, even though it's qualified by a libertarian form of nationalism, stay away. If you're a God-fearing American who loves this country and wants to see us do well, knows the differences between a small R republic and a small D democracy, then you are welcome to stay. But let's start with the best possible group of people that we can put together this weekend in Denver, Colorado on Saturday night. Join me there. Grab your tickets at the LP Colorado. It's my old political party. I'm a Republican. Controversially going back to my old political party because I'm pretty sure that a lot of them would have hated my guts, but apparently they love me more than ever, even though I'm talking more shit. Good morning, pineapples. Let me tell you a secret.
Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice.
Camelia Peterson joins us live in 5. Don't go away. We've still got $15 more to raise to unlock the bonus content. When we get back, Camelia Peterson on why some people aren't that happy about the peace in the Middle East.
Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking?
אבי, תנשרו. בואי מירי. גם. שימי, שיהיה לך נוח אחרי זה.
He's a father getting ready to see his son for the first time in 2 years.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Yeah. Look at him. Man, I think that would be me too. That one had me getting misty-eyed yesterday. Oh, boy. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're glad and thankful to have you here. The hostages released. Peace, peace in the Middle East. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show, where we know that America is the best and greatest nation on this earth, but it doesn't mean we can't celebrate big wins for liberty around the world. People now freed from Islamist terror. Free Palestine, 100% communist bullshit, which is why the people who are not happy about peace in the Middle East are 100% commies, or maybe some Nazis, okay. Joining me now to laugh at me, for me too. Torture her until her cheeks turn red. Camelia Peterson joins us live on the Wake Up America Show. Hi, CJ.
Good morning. Thanks a lot for starting with something to get me all choked up.
Hey. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Vitzivanu. The nice thing about Jewish prayers is that they aren't always accompanied by a loud boom after them, so they're not quite as scary as... Aloha Snack Bar. What you doing, Camelia? How's life treating you? You look like you got a little sun this weekend.
It's good. I did get a little sun. We had a really nice time Sunday in Herman, and it was good spending some quality time with my people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice to have a little bit of refresh, recharge. Makes it, I feel like it keeps us sane, healthy, right? And have people who tell you to your face you disagree with me like you do to me. And
it's true.
It's true, you do. I actually like that. I always appreciate that, Camelia. CJ, let's talk about what's happening in the world here. Peace in the Middle East. Congratulations, Trump. Is this one of those days where you're like, is today the day that you say, I got what I voted for award, or is today the day where you say, fell for it again award, right? So,
No, I mean, of the things that we've talked about with the Trump administration that have been a mixed bag, I mean, like this is one of the great things, right? Because, and I think that there were a lot of factors at play here, and there's a lot that remains to be seen. But the fact that there's finally a cessation, there's a ceasefire, and that the Israeli hostages have gone back home. And I was thinking about this, and when you think about the numbers. Like the numbers themselves are just mind-boggling when you talk about the trade that occurred, because the Palestinian, I think that there were like 250-ish actual like Hamas fighters that were in prison for life or whatever, and they were sent back, but along with 1,700 other prisoners. And so like when you talk about 20 versus 200 in terms of, and like, it's just like, so, the Palestinians and Hamas, they made out pretty good on this deal as far as the prisoner exchange part went.
But some people were seemed so disappointed, or there were a lot of people who seem to make that their whole center of their universe, who just were kind of quietly huffing.
Yeah, I mean, like it's been there, well, for a lot of people, like this has been their whole identity for the last 2 years. And so like there's, we talk a lot sometimes, and this is on both sides of the aisle, so to speak, about people who are just perpetually mad, perpetually anti-something.
I don't want a solution. I want to be angry.
Yes, and I think that so many of the people who are constantly up in arms about this, like this was the case with them too. It's not that they had any real affinity for the Palestinian people or anything like that. It was something for them to glom onto and be mad about.
Interesting. This is how Trump responded when asked a question about Bill Clinton's statement, which was a congratulatory statement to Trump for freeing the hostages. Here's what Trump said.
Giving you credit for ending the war in Gaza. And
others liked Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with him.
Giving you credit for ending the war in Gaza.
And others liked Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with him. He used to be a friend of mine. Came to my wedding, So did she. People don't know that. But No, he's. I've always liked him. I thought it was very nice, actually. And what is he doing? He's telling the truth. Because nobody else has been able to do it. I'm talking about the Middle East, yes.
Yeah. He's right. Nobody else was able to do it except, I mean, Clinton had a little deal with Yasser Arafat. That was a brief one, but it was never fully a full deal. It wasn't like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of like this, like I think the big question now is, what is this? So I was looking through because boy, it is hard to track. Like, so I had AI helping me and like breaking down like what was actually agreed to? Like, is it a peace deal? Is it a ceasefire? What is it? And so there is this big like 20-point plan that's broken down into 3 phases. And I think this is a very incredibly important first step that's been made here, right? But now the question is what comes next? Because there's already reports out now that Hamas is saying that they made no agreement to give up their arms, and all of these kind of things. And part of the agreement is the demilitarization of Hamas in the region. And so there are a lot of things that are going on in here. And the U.S. is playing a significant role in this joint task force is supposed to oversee that. We're committing troops to it. So I will tell you, this is great. I want to see where we are a year from now, because my concern is, and I think it's a very reasonable one, is that Hamas is not just going to go away. They're not going to say, we're done now. Peace. It's peace now. That's not going to happen.
Somebody said yesterday, there's a non-zero chance that this all falls apart.
Yeah.
It is the Middle East after all. And the idea of a lasting peace in the Middle East, I'd put the chances of that somewhere between slim and none. However, for now.
Well, right. I mean, it's for now. I mean, like I said, I don't want to minimize the accomplishment of right now. Mm-hmm. And I guess just going forward, maybe this is worst case scenario thinking, I don't know, but it's easy to go down this trail if we're over there and we are facilitating this agreement and we have troops on the ground, and what happens when Hamas decides to go back to their old tactics and they hit and they kill our troops too? Where are we then?
Well, that's a different story. I mean, at that time, we will build Trump Tower. I think people probably need to be ready for that. It's a beautiful strip of land, and obnoxious people who don't know they're defeated have to go the way of the Native American. They have to go live on a reservation somewhere, and they have to go walk a trail of tears, but they can't take their slaves with them, like the ones who did here in the United States. I really appreciate what the peaceful, loving, kind people, the peacemaker, blessed are the peacemakers of this world. But I really think that oftentimes there's a real naivete when it comes to conflict and clash, war of civilizations. I think sometimes people sort of look at conflicts a little bit too much on a micro scale. They look at it as an interpersonal scale.
Sure.
And you say, oh, well, I just need to get along. You just need to talk to them. No, you need to get the Arab nations like Trump did. You need to be able to get Qatar. You need to be able to get Egypt. You need to get Syria. You need to get every Arab nation that can put pressure on Hamas possible to sit down with Israel, their own sworn enemies, and all conspire against Hamas, which is what Trump did, which is the miracle, Camelia. That is the miracle that Trump accomplished and pulled off. It couldn't have been done by anyone else because in some ways he's so neutral, but he's also no pushover. I mean, I really fully believe that the Doha strike that Israel bombed the capital of Qatar was the turning point where they were finally, all right, that's it, take them. We're not going to allow Israel to bomb our capital.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable conclusion to arrive at, because we're talking about Qatar, who has been a large funder of Hamas. And so there has to be something that convinces them that that's not in their best interest anymore. I also think we shouldn't trust them. But it's been true. And you're right. This is the huge part of this, is that it's been true that all of these Arab nations around Israel and Gaza have refused. They don't want them. They don't want to take their refugees. They don't want any part of it, but they don't want to do anything about it either. So I do think, in the region, it's way past time for the countries that are in the region to step up and take some responsibility in that. And I do think, Liz Mayer posted a thread on, or a thread on X this morning, I think it was, that anyway, she goes through and talks about what are some of the differences that Trump had in, coming to this deal in that region. And you had Jared Kushner over there, working this constantly. So you had somebody who had a heavily vested interest in this. And then also she pointed out, and this is true, like Trump is unpredictable. Like people just don't know where he's going next. And I think that sometimes other countries think he's a little crazy and they're not sure what's going to come out of his mouth next. And so I do think that kind of keeps them off balance and probably adds to, that's probably a positive for him in that case.
Hold on one second here. There's a video that I watched once. It was really good in terms of explaining the origins of the word Palestine and like where the Palestinian people lived, right? There's a large Palestinian population in Jordan, and Jordan is often referred to as a Palestinian country for that reason, although the Palestinian people are not in charge in Jordan, for example. Mm-hmm. So the problem that I have ascertained, and perhaps I've even read biased sources on this, and I need to expand my views. I'm willing to keep an open mind because I don't know everything. But these people have been pushed from one country to another. Right? They're a fairly, tightly controlled group. They hold to each other, just like Jewish people do in many ways, right? Very, very tribal. And in every country they've been in, they've committed acts of terrorism. And that's why they've been driven out of each country that they've done. Now, people say this about Jews. They say, Jews, they've been driven out of every country that they've been in. Yes. And I looked that up too to see what were some of the reasons for the pogroms. And of course, number one was that these people didn't believe in Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And then number two, they did it because they brought things like intellectualism that caused people to become skeptical and start to ask questions in their communities. So the terrorism that Judaism has visited on our planet is the crime of the tree of the knowledge of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil to many. But the crimes that the Palestinians commit are terrorist, violent acts of terrorism in our cities, in putting themselves behind babies, using them as human shields. So there's no moral equivalence between these two groups in my mind. Am I off base?
Well, no, I don't think that there's a moral equivalence. I do think that the conflict between, Israel and Palestine has gone we're talking there's large portions of the Bible that talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. And so, this is something that, which is why you would hear, at least when I was growing up, I don't know if there is as much talk about this now, but all the time, growing up in the church, people would talk about the Middle East and, the possibility of peace. And they would say it's never going to happen because, Israel will always be at war with these nations because it has been that way, for all of history, basically, for Israel's history, and that there's this forever enmity. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there's that idea, so that there was really no expectation in Christian circles anyway of peace in the Middle East until Christ's return. So, it's interesting, and there's certainly a pattern in the Middle East that leaves everybody going, yeah, it's probably not going to last. But I think that, we get what we can, and it's important that we've taken this step.
Yeah, no, it's exciting that we are at a point now where Israel doesn't have to become the number one issue anymore. Frankly, I don't really want to spend lots of time talking about Israel and Palestine. Yeah. I really don't. Because
I think we feed the monster too when we do it, right? I think just worldwide it feeds into that, and it ramps it up, and it just by virtue of making it bigger than it should be.
Yes, and in my mind, if Trump is really the genius, the business genius everybody thinks that he is, the next thing that they'll do is go in and they'll start building hotels and casinos and maybe some dive resorts for me to come visit on the.
Okay, so in that 20-point plan, there is somewhere, I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but there is an economic development portion in there. There's a little bit of nation building going on in this plan.
Oh, there is. And again, another reason why I have to give this speech to this call to libertarian nationalism, because I think the foreign policy in America from libertarians is so decidedly non-interventionist. It's truly actually isolationist. And I don't say it as a pejorative. I mean it really descriptively isolationist. And yeah, we should be for America first, and we should focus on the United States. But you can't say, interventionism is always the cause of the next war or whatever, when, and nation building is always wrong, when it clearly functioned well in South Korea, and it functioned well for Japan and to some extent Germany. But I think that really is kind of the difference between like the Tucker Carlson conservative types and stuff, is that they don't like liberalism. They don't really like, assuming that Tucker actually believes the bullshit that he's saying, and platforming people who say things like Winston Churchill was the primary cause and maybe Hitler had it right. When they argue bald-facedly that the wrong guys, won the war in World War II, what they're really saying is that, the homos and, drug addicts and the people, the dregs of society, we should be able to be put in camps and to take away and to take unmentioned political dissonance and to silence the speech of people with whom we disagree, essentially, to some degree, right? They're not libertarians in any sense. They're truly authoritarians. When you scratch a skeptic, kind of a paranoid schizophrenic, you'll always find like some Jewish conspiracy or another.
So, here's the thing, and there's a lot of the rhetoric that we've heard on the right too. There no more forever wars. That's what Trump ran on, right? And so when you talk about interventionism, though, I think that where people are in the sense, and especially Gen Z, I think we cannot underestimate what a big issue this is for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They don't see the value in it, and they see interventionism as having been the norm rather than the exception.
Remember how you and I
rule.
remember our generation? Maybe you're not a millennial exactly, Camellia, but I am. But my generation, I remember when people said that about my generation too. It was too much avocado toast. But you know what? Some of my millennials, they were right. The boomers were right about many of my fellow millennials. Many of them are still struggling to launch. And they don't believe in the American dream because they didn't work for the American dream. And they had a very high, there are a lot of them, many of them conspiracy types who commit every Mott and Bailey ex post facto fallacy in the world. They do everything but blame themselves for their problems, Camellia, and nobody wants to blame themselves for their problems. But who's responsible?
Anyway.
You know who's responsible for the Palestinians' problems? You know who's responsible for the Palestinians' problems? The Palestinians' problems.
That's right.
It's the Palestinians. Do you know who's responsible for the plight of minorities in the United States? The minorities of the United States. There's no systemic racism. There's no systemic racism in the United States. Say no more of this victimhood complex, whether it's a foreign policy application towards the Palestinians or the American black. I wish no more to be heard of as colonizers or imperialists or oppressors or interventionists. Fuck them all. The colonialist approach was the correct approach. We came, we saw, we gentrified. We came, we saw, we gentrified. Clip that.
Oh, Lord.
Clip that. Get the t-shirt. We've got it at the Grift Shop, thegriftshop.com. Look it up, the colonizers. I shit you not.
Well, yeah, I know.
Colonizers, team colonizers. Israel and United States. Barakatah Adonai Eloheinu. God bless America. Neocon. They're going to call me a neocon. Camellia, they're calling me a neocon.
Well, no
because
kidding.
I love America. And because I don't want to put the Jews in camps. Am I a bad American? Am I neocon, Camellia?
You are not a bad American, but I can certainly understand where people think that you're full-on interventionist now from your rant just 2 seconds ago.
You know what? The world is intervention. Here's the thing. Non-intervention has to go both ways, Camellia. It has to go both ways. Are we really suggesting that if we pull out unilaterally, if we disarm, we walk away, that the bully's not going to go after us, that they aren't going to spy on us, lie to us?
Okay, but you can only go with that argument so far, because you could take that argument and you could apply it to every single thing that we've been involved in, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's Vietnam. The problem is there has to be a line in there somewhere. There has to be some judgment. And I understand that at the time, there's hindsight is 2020. You can't always see
j'accuse. You're a woman and you're effeminate Your effeminate values, your effeminate values are the dominant values of this country. And I'll tell you that and Trump is an open rebuke and refutation of the female feminist values that this country was running on up until then. I mean, I think that probably when Joe Biden was president, it was actually a woman who was in charge that whole time, if I could bet.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
May have been a trans woman, but it's the female to male trans, I would guess, right? They had to have a little testosterone to run the presidency, but it was probably a biological female who was in charge of the White House. It wasn't Kamala because she was drunk, but it was someone else. But when it comes to the concept of national defense and national security, without a logical, rational, may I suggest even Nixonian view of foreign policy, rather than this hopeless, idealistic view that people are going to conform to a libertarian, non-interventionist worldview. If we pull back, they'll pull back. That has never been how it's worked. It never will be. And therefore, if intervention is at my doorstep, if the gun's pointed at me, they're not going to... You think they're going to disarm Russia, China? They're arming.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't disagree that you have to have a strong military force. I mean, peace through strength, right? I mean, I do think that is
with
true.
Stolen tax dollars, right?
Yes. Well, let me ask you this then. Given your kind of like progression through this, and like I'm, a big fan of like changing, the way you think with new information and as your POV changes. So what I want to know, and besides that, taxation is theft.
Yes.
It is. So how do you feel about the draft now?
No, I'm not for the draft. I think that
Okay.
I think Milton Friedman was right that a draft creates an incentive of slavery, essentially a slavery incentive to the state. And so I don't feel that way with the draft, but you should ask me, if you really want to ask an interesting question, ask me how I legitimately believe that we need to have the strongest, most powerful military on the earth and maintain it that way, and not tax people. So ask me a question like that, and there's an interesting question.
Okay, well, that one, how you're going to do that without the taxes is probably a much, much longer discussion. But, let me ask you this, like, do you think that, so we've had this discussion before on the cultural side of things where you talk about the qualities of a man and how that a man should be capable of doing violence.
Correct.
Right? It's not that he should be violent, but he should be capable. So, like, to me, that there's a comparison there with how your country should be, and that you should have the capability. But like, I don't know how we cannot, like, it's not a good culture for me for if we are going to go into conflict. And not do that reluctantly. Like, I think conflict should always be the last resort. And we should always be reluctant, looking for every other option before we do that.
No. You're making a very big strategic You're going to get yourself killed, and you're going to get other people killed if you think like that. What you have to do is you have to approach everyone like General James Mattis would approach them. I come in peace. I didn't bring artillery. But I'm begging you with tears in my eyes, if you fuck with me, I will kill you all. And that is
it's
the porcupine. Otherwise, it's a porcupine with no spikes. Otherwise, what's it's deterrence. The only thing that's ever worked was naval superiority, naval supremacy. Thomas Jefferson had to build. Congratulations, by the way, to the U.S. Navy 250th anniversary of the Navy. The most successful libertarians in world history built a navy so that they could raise flags and slit throats without some kind of a forward defense. The thing about Trump, I was talking about counterattacks the other day, and we got to go. But Trump gets attacked, and then he knows an attack is coming. He's ready for it, and he counterattacks. But he had to be ready for the blow. Karate is for defense only. Every kata that we learn in karate, Camellia, begins with a block and ends with a strike. So yes, I'm not initiating the conflict, but I've studied my karate. I've trained. While you guys were all watching porn, I studied karate.
That's good. Like, I am not in with you guys. Let's just make sure I clarify that.
Just kidding, not Camellia, but I'm talking about the audience. Camellia would not. Why did it have to be porn? I was looking for something bad, but that seemed the worst. As bad as it gets, I guess. Camellia, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wake Up America show. If you'd like to say anything, plug anything, disassociate yourself from me, you can do so now.
Well, I do think that sometimes people occasionally question my my judgment for sticking with you.
No, it's just that you can't help it because the tickling of the pink cheeks Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're addicted to it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, I think it's important to have these conversations. And, even if sometimes they're a little hyperbolic and we joke about it, like, that's good. That's what makes this good content too, and quality. So anyway, I have nothing else to say. You can follow me on Rare Camellia on Twitter or X, whatever it is now.
I told you I was going to turn those cheeks red. I told you I could do it. Camellia, you're the best. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for sticking through me with me, even though your friends tell me that you need to ditch this loser. We'll see you see you Thursday.
Have a great day, everyone.
We're not a loser. We're going to be a winner. We're going to be like George Washington or Gavin McInnes.
I don't think you hate Muslims enough. That's my problem with you. I hate Muslims. Hey.
No, not really. We love everybody, but no, they're really pissing me off though lately.
Who are the Muzzies?
Yeah, like
Manchester.
The stabbing. No, more like Hassan Piker and like Zohran Mamdani.
These are your bedfellows. That's also on my notes.
I know. It's the third worldists. They've these fucking communists and Muslims. They're all anti-Israel.
And the Columbia students, encampment.
Yeah, UCLA. Yeah.
Those are your brothers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. it's unfortunate.
I mean, I have strange bedfellows too, I guess.
Don't we all? Familiar with Austin Peterson? Very strange. My next guest is Kira Davis. She says that she warned Ben Shapiro about Candace Owens before. Oh, we got the bonus content? Oh, yeah. Way to go, guys. Well, enjoy the bonus content. Thanks for unlocking it. We appreciate your defense of Western civilization and the libertarian values that make it great. We'll be right back with Kira Davis to talk about what she told Ben Shapiro about Candace Owens. It's the Wake Up America show. You're watching the For Liberty Network.
The U.S. has done a lot for Arab dictators. For years, Democrats and Republicans have been seeking to give Saudi Arabia, the largest purchaser of American weapons in the world, a NATO-like defense pact. And Washington is drawing closer to Qatar, the Saudi kingdom's nearby frenemy. After pledging to defend Qatar last month, the Trump administration announced a new training facility for Qatari military pilots in Idaho last week. One of the many favors that the U.S. has given to these governments is helping to drown out dissenting voices. Documents given to the Washington Post by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists reveal. Over the past 3 years, U.S. officials led meetings of Middle Eastern countries to plan information operations, the documents show, and plan to create a combined Middle East Cyber Center and an Information Fusion Center to systematize these efforts. The documents were a series of PowerPoint presentations about the Regional Security Construct, a secret U.S.-led coalition which includes Israel, Qatar, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Kuwait and Oman were listed as potential partners whose officials were briefed about the coalition meetings. The Post's coverage focuses on the hypocrisy of the Arab states. While they denounced Israel's war in Gaza, those states were actively working with the Israeli military, including on-tunnel warfare training and air defense coordination. However, buried in the reporting is the revelation that those states are receiving direct American help in shaping their propaganda campaigns. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM officials were leading meetings on information operations to counter Iran's narrative that it is the regional protector of Palestinians, and according to a 2025 document, to propagate a partner narrative of regional prosperity and cooperation, the Post reports. And those American officials were working to expand these operations further, advocating for creating an ominously named Information Fusion Center to help coalition members rapidly plan, execute, and assess operations in the information environment. Arab states have put a lot of stock in the internet as a tool of domestic control. Many critics in the regional security construct countries have been reportedly tortured or even sentenced to death in the case of Saudi Arabia, simply for posting on social media. Despite knowing about the repression in Arab states, the U.S. government has been happy to teach them more effective online surveillance tactics. In 2023, the U.S. State Department reported that Bahrain suffered from serious restrictions on internet freedom, and that the authorities there considered opposing the monarchy to be a terrorist act. The following year, the State Department trained Bahraini police on how to track operations recruiting and disinformation by terrorists on social media. The State Department insisted to reason at the time that the trainees would be vetted for human rights violations in accordance with U.S. law, and that the U.S. consistently raises human rights issues with senior Bahraini officials. Publicly, CENTCOM admits to carrying out military information support operations, including countering disinformation, as part of trans-regional cooperation to counter state and non-state actors posing a threat to U.S. interests. It insists that these operations are implemented in accordance with U.S. public law and Department of War, DOW policy guidance. But other leaks suggest that U.S. propaganda operations in the Middle East are a lot more sinister than the narrative of regional prosperity and cooperation described in official documents. In 2022, The Intercept obtained internal documents from Twitter showing that CENTCOM was running fake accounts, cheerleading the Saudi war effort in Yemen. Rather than countering disinformation, the U.S. military has been caught actively spreading it, including rumors about Iranian doctors stealing organs and Chinese vaccines being made with pork. It's hard to tell exactly what kind of new information Operation CENTCOM has in mind for the regional security construct. The coalition is secretive by design. Documents obtained by the Post promise to keep the cooperation in confidence and warn that participants must not photograph meetings or allow access to journalists. Worldwide, U.S. military propaganda efforts are a massive undertaking. The Defense Department is asking Congress for a military information support operations budget of over $209 million in FY 2026. It's safe to say that at least some of that money will make it easier for Middle Eastern dictators to control the information space.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I am your host, Austin Peterson. They call me AP for Liberty Online. You can find me on any social network under that name, pretty much. Some people are like, Austin, where are you at on YouTube? Well, I'm not going to talk about YouTube on Rumble, but we don't have the AP for Liberty YouTube channel. It still exists. It's just they demonetized me because too spicy. You know, all the things that were making Camelia's cheeks blush. Now, listen, I haven't chased off my whole fan base yet with my opinions on the Israel-Gaza conflict and supporting Donald Trump. Scared off a lot of other people as well. When you take a stand, they run away. They go to Bernie Sanders. They're like, oh, please, Bernie, save us. Tell me the comforting lies. If you like the painful truth, if you enjoy pain, if you're a masochist, welcome to the Wake Up America show. Click the like and follow. The pain has only just begun. How will my audience react? Will I be able to make money if I call out people on my side of the aisle? Who gives a shit? Let's talk about Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. From a woman who knows, Kira Davis. It's been a while since we've seen each other, but she joins us live on the Wake Up America show. Good morning, Kira.
Morning, Austin, from still dark California. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks so much for getting up early, Kira. It's an important conversation. Ben Shapiro, you know him for a long time. You kind of warned him about Candace Owens. What was that?
Well, when Candace Owens first hit the scene, I don't know if a lot of people remember, but she did kind of it seemed like she popped out of nowhere. It was all of a sudden. And really what happened was she had been doing a little bit of work on YouTube, and then Kanye West scooped her up. He replied to one comment, and then she blew up, and then she started getting work on this side. I have to admit, in the beginning, I did enjoy her when she was still just a YouTuber. She used to have her Red Black Pill or Black Pill Red or some kind of channel like that. She just used to do little piffy commentary, and I liked that. When Kanye blew her up, I started listening to her, and I thought, oh, there's something amiss here. I've been in business for a long time. You start to be able to discern who is sincere, who is authentic, and who is sort of grifting or just in it for the clickbait, or it's a form of fame chasing for some people. It may not be, Hollywood celebrity fame, but it's a form of it for some people. So I started noticing that stuff. And then when Shapiro hired her onto the Daily Wire. By that time, I had already written an article about Candace called The Trouble with Candace. I wrote it for Red State, where I used to work. And I said, look, I don't think that this woman is on the up and up. And she, not only is she very disparaging towards Black people, her own community, in a way that isn't just, hey, we need to do better. We need better for our community. But I always felt that there was a viciousness to the way that she viewed Black people as a Black woman myself. And so I said, I don't think that this woman is on the up and up. Also, she's an influencer, and influencing was pretty new at the time. And I thought that you shouldn't trust influencers with the conservative / Republican message. I'm a conservative and a Republican. You shouldn't trust an influencer with that message, because that's an ideological message. Influencers are good for spreading messages and getting clicks. And I can understand you want to have someone like that on your network and give her 5 minutes a day to get some clicks, but influencing is something different. And it's something different than activism. It's something different.
It's all merged though now into one kind of like,
you're right.
It's become a toxic chemical soup to some extent, right? And everybody is accusing everybody of being a grifter and being on the take or being bought and sold. I think some are being bought and sold though, Kira.
Yes, I do too.
I think that it's more than just malign domestic sources. I do believe that there are foreign sources that are spending money in the United States on influencers to try and get their message out, and more than just hey, go to watch the NFL games, or pimping for some product that the sham wow or something right there. It's
you're right.
I suspicion that that's going on with some of these people like Tucker or Candace, but I don't have any hard evidence other than what's pretty open about Tucker's association with some of the Qatari moneyed interests. Do you think that where there's smoke, there's fire in this? Or do you think that maybe they're just chasing the audience for the clicks and the attention? It's fame and money, and any kind of foreign influence is probably secondary to this. How do you feel about it?
No, it's an ecosystem, right? I think the foreign influence is very recent. I think that our foreign, I don't necessarily want to say enemies, but other foreign entities have understood that America can't be beat through military might, but you can beat us with our own personal greed, and you can beat us with our own personal desire to be liked. And other entities have been very effective in using that. And so this is new. I do believe, I couldn't give you a receipt, but I absolutely do believe that there is foreign money. I know this as a podcaster, a writer, and an activist who's been in the conservative activism space for almost 20 years. So I can tell you what it looks like when someone's on the come up and when someone is earning their way, into an audience.
But here's the thing, though. I've been accused of that myself, Kira. I imagine you probably have as well. And some people would say that, oh, you're just jealous because she's got such a big audience. How would you react to that?
Yeah, well, I wrote my famous now, The Trouble with Candace article 5 years ago, 2019.
Oh.
In 2019. And I said, this woman is a problem. Conservatives need to keep an eye on her. We should not be embracing her. She speaks poorly about Black people. And not in the way of like, I want to improve, but like there's something wrong with her. And everybody said, oh, you sound jealous. You sound jealous, right. Kira. You sound like you would like a little bit of that attention or that money. And before people started saying that, I hadn't even thought about that. And then after people started saying that, and then I lost a lot of followers. I actually lost a lot of work on that. Can I just say this, Austin, while I'm here? When I was telling conservatives about Candace and that she was a problem, and I said, I'm getting a bad vibe off her because she speaks so poorly about Black people, and she's Black. I'm Black. I know how you talk about the Black community, even when you're fussing at them, right? Like my whole position is from, I want us to be better. I want us to do better. I think we can be better. That's every criticism I have is from that baseline. And hers was the opposite. And that's when everyone was telling me, you're jealous, or you are liberal. I got accused of being a liberal a lot, and I'm not. I'm definitely a right-wing nut job. You're a liberal, all of that stuff. And when people decided that Candace was not on the up and up, when Candace decided to start criticizing Israel and the Jews, which I am a defender of Israel.
Now you've gone too far.
Jews.
You can criticize the American black, but you cannot. You can't do that and the Jews.
No, I say this as someone who is, definitely supportive of Israel, and I couldn't care less about all of that. I'm sorry, I don't want to cuss on your show. I couldn't care less about all that BS. But to be honest, it does bother me when people are like, oh, she's gone off the rails. She never should have met Kanye, or someone's influencing her. No, this is who she's always been. You just didn't care when she was talking bad about black people. This is who she's always been.
Do you think Shapiro bears any responsibility for launching Candace?
100%. 100%. I actually tweeted at Ben yesterday because Ben finally has broken his silence on her. And I imagine there's some contract issues there as well. But broken his silence and said, look, I'm really disappointed, yada, yada. And I said, okay, great. That's great, Ben. But I was one of the voices warning you not to platform her.
Do you think
in the
that
way
she
you
always
were.
hated him? Do you think that she just, or she just used him for fame and that it was all pretend? Or do you think that she always disliked Jews?
No. I don't think she cares one way or the other. I think she's just a 1,000% grifter. As a matter of fact, look at what she's doing with the Charlie Kirk stuff.
So there's no strongly held beliefs, you think?
No, none. I mean that.
Isn't that
There's
sad?
nothing.
You know what? The only reason why people aren't going to accept that or believe you if they don't, Kira, is because they don't want to. Because you know why? Because the truth is usually way more boring than the dirty lies that she's being manipulated by Qatar or that. I think
she for sure is getting money from. I 1,000% believe that she's pulling money from other entities, probably Qatar, because Qatar, they have figured out this podcast game, right? I mean, kudos to them for doing it.
And they're
spending money, and it's working. I don't know how long it'll work for, but for now, it's working. So, don't get me wrong. She is absolutely getting money from other places. She'll say what, but you watch her message shift. Each day it gets crazier and crazier. If you're wondering why all of a sudden she sounds crazy on this issue or that, it's because that she figured out there was clicks there. That's it.
I'm sort of a World War II nerd. So when I heard her sort of offering her views on Hitler and nationalism and how nationalism goes across borders versus nationalism in your nation state. And, Hitler would have been fine if he had just stayed within his own borders. I thought to myself, here's a very uninformed person talking about a very, very big, important topic of which they have obviously very clearly little knowledge. So now when I hear some of those people talking about things like the firebombing of Dresden or the nuking of Hiroshima or Nagasaki, and I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I just kind of dismissed them summarily in pretty much every other one. But I dismissed her, years ago for that reason, not because I thought she was necessarily a grifter. I just thought she wasn't that well informed. And I try and listen to well informed sources, which makes me an outlier, which makes me obnoxious, makes me a nerd. Kira, I have a question that's a little bit on a separate topic, but you kind of brought it up earlier about some like the grousing at black people. And I wonder how you feel about this new trend of people posting their fatigue with black people in the United States. How should I feel as a white person when my instinct tells me don't sit in front of that black man on the train, don't sit with your back to him, and it's my animal brain telling me to do it? Should I listen to my animal brain, or should I be anti-racist? What do I do?
Listen to your animal brain. I tell my daughter, I have a 18-year-old daughter, I have a 23-year-old son. We are a black family. We've all been black our whole lives. And I tell my daughter all the time, if you feel uncomfortable, you listen to your red flags. That's what I tell her. That God gives you those for a reason. That's your internal warning system. If you're walking down the street and there's a black man walking towards you, it's late at night and you feel nervous, cross the street. If he's not a problem and you run into him later, you can apologize to him later for your mistake. But absolutely, guess what? I have fatigue too. I think we're all fatigued, to be honest. My family and I talk about it. I actually was watching a video recently, a black fatigue video, and I was standing with my son, he's 23, And I was like, am I a racist now? And he was like, I think we're all racist, Mom. I think we all have fatigue. I would say,
clip that.
I would say,
clip it.
I would say, I think we're all racist now. Yeah, I think we're all racist now.
I don't want to be racist. I don't want to be prejudiced or bigoted. I don't want to judge people. I want to judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
You have to profile people.
What?
You have to profile people. Listen, you're a man, so this might be a different calculation for you. But to the women out there listening, you do this every day, ladies. Right? You do this every day, ladies. We have to profile every day. We have to decide, if I get in this elevator with these bigger men and I'm riding down 12 floors, should I step in this elevator and feel nervous, or should I just wait? Or you profile the server at the counter, or the guy who's going to change the oil in your car. Women do it all the time. We do it every day. So people make calculations, and they make profile calculations. Do I, as a Black woman, feel embarrassed and saddened by that? Yes. Do I feel judged by that sometimes unfairly? Absolutely. I want to tell every server I sit down with my family at a restaurant I want to tell them before we even start, you will get tipped. Please be kind to us. I want to say, because Black people don't tip, for those who don't know. I want to say that every time.
Clip it.
You will get tipped. Please be nice. Please be nice.
Brad, I hope you're listening, bud. We need lots of clips from Kira Davis today. I need as many reels as I can.
Owen. You're gonna make me the
Kira,
next
make
Candace
sure that
Owens.
we're gonna tag you in all the posts. Make sure that you share them. Of course, everybody else who's watching right now, I think we got a lot of big fans of Kira in the chat. Kira is right. Lots of congratulations. I never thought I'd have a podcast where a Black woman would be telling me, be racist. I don't want to be racist. You're like, no, profile.
Don't be racist against me.
Profile.
Don't be racist against
Kira.
me.
We'll let you in when the inevitable race. I used to read the old Nazi blogs back in the 90s when they first appeared, and they were always talking about this book. It was the Turner Diaries. And it was have you heard of that?
I've heard of that. Yes.
Exactly. And there was like all these, it was this white supremacist fantasies about like eventually one day the blacks and whites are going to like have a shootout in the streets. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It's going to be with some white and black conservative Americans against some black and pink hard lefty Antifa tryhards, and some of them wearing frog costumes.
You know what? Let me say something about that. And this is actually a more serious point that you're making.
Let's hear it.
Is that traditionally the left wing in this country has divided us. Humans are tribal. I recognize this, and I think we should accept that. Our relations are going to be a lot easier if we understand that. Humans are naturally tribal, but the left has separated us per politics or per race, race and ethnicity, for tribes. And lately it's been feeling a lot more like those old lines of division no longer apply. We're no longer willing to be lumped into those tribes together, because we keep getting lumped with weirdos. We keep getting lumped with, like, I'm Black and they keep lumping me with brown, right? So I never get to be just Black. Now I'm Black and brown. And that's a whole other thing. It has a whole other legacy. It has a whole other meaning. It has its own cadre of weirdos already there. Or you get lumped, if you're libertarian, you get lumped with the naked cyclists in Portland. You know, like, they keep trying to make these our tribes. I think with the right, and but please, nobody be picturing Austin riding a bike naked right now. Don't do it. Wipe the image from your mind. Wipe it right now. Don't picture him sitting on that bike and what his butt cheeks are doing. Don't do it.
No. All right. No, that's it. This is going off the rails. Okay. Listen, let me tell you something about Kira Davis real quick. This woman is sitting on the left coast right now. And let me tell you something, for those who don't understand the time zones. It is freaking early where she is right now. She's bringing this kind of energy and this kind of comedy and humor. You won't find this anywhere else this early in the morning. If you want to start your day the American way, you watch the Wake Up America show so you can hear real patriots like Kira Davis telling you to be racist. Just kidding. We're kidding. Just tongue and firmly in cheek here. No, seriously though, it's a serious conversation, and black fatigue is a real thing. It's a phenomenon. And the problem, of course, is that we're not really allowed to acknowledge it. It's like me kind of trying to say, lady, I think that your feminism has gone too far. I think this is a female-coded view. No, you're not allowed.
But don't you think, Austin? I don't think I agree with you actually on this point, but I don't think it's black fatigue. Don't you think we're just fatigued? Because I'm seeing that word being used everywhere. I have feminism fatigue. I have Muslim fatigue. I have traffic fatigue. I have Democrat fatigue. Like the word, the fatigue is the 2025 word, right?
Yes.
Last year it was gaslighting. This year it's fatigue.
This is the clip. It's the fatigue. Cut that clip, post it everywhere. That's fatigue. We're all fatigued. We're tired everywhere, mostly because our ass is the type, if you're watching this live, to get up early. It's 8:48 Central Time here, which means that it's 6:48 a.m. And that's all before 7 a.m. Kira Davis cooks. Kira Davis, she cooked you a whole breakfast. And I hope that you all appreciated it today. Kira, please tell us if there's anything we missed about this conversation today. Please fill us in. And then also, if you have anything to plug, please do so now.
I don't know. I think I've recently shuttered my old podcast, Just Listen to Yourself. And that was a podcast about critical thinking and persuasion. I really wanted to talk to the other side of the equation and give people a reason to dig into their own ideas. And I did that for 5 years. And I did a lot of I gave out a lot of invitations for people to come to the table and look at each other over that table and say to each other, I'm going to lay down my right to be offended just for this conversation. And I'm going to have it with you. And we're going to try to hash out what it means to be an American together. That's what that podcast was dedicated towards. But I'll tell you what, Austin, after November 2024, when I woke up the next day, and I heard people wishing death upon me and my family and wishing death upon anybody who didn't support Kamala Harris or who did support Donald Trump, I realized that there is no convincing this side of the other side of the equation. There is something deeply wrong over there. I no longer am interested in persuasion. And if you want to know where I got radicalized, it was the day someone shot my friend in the neck. So I'm with you,
Kira. I'm with you 100%.
I don't have the tolerance
Kira,
for it anymore.
We need that Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers clip where they're doing the handshake and their muscles and their biceps are all popping out right now. I got that kind of energy with you right now, Kira. I'm with you. They killed the nice guy, and so now you get the tough, mean guy instead.
You should have let the nice guy live.
Dude, Kira, I don't know. I know you're conservative, whatever. I'm launching a new movement this weekend. It's called the Libertarian Nationalist Movement. If that sounds scary to you, please tell me what you like about it, what you dislike about it. I wrote a manifesto. I'd love for you to read it. I'd love to have you on the show again, but I won't be too selfish with your time because it's stinking early out there and you've already been extremely generous. So I'm telling all my followers right now that I may be a libertarian, but you are a mandatory follow on X and turn on notifications on notifications.
Thank you.
Kira, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Austin. Thanks, everybody. I'll be back.
Yeah, you're fantastic. She'll be back. Absolutely. No question.
I get along with the tough ones. I don't get along with the weak ones. I get along with the tough ones. I don't know what that is, but Erdogan's been great with me. You know, when NATO has a problem with Erdogan, which they often do, they call me to talk to him. And I've never failed in working it out like immediately. Is that right? I get along with the tough ones. I don't get along with the weak ones. I get along with the tough ones. I don't know what that is.
That's my president. I get along with the tough ones. I don't get along with the weak ones. That's my president right there. Got what I voted for. Yes. It's time for some tough ones. I'm tired of these weak libertarians, the naked dancing on stage, heroin to 5-year-olds. One of the child consents those. Free Palestine. Oh, Hamas, we love you, brother. Durka, Baka, Allah, libertarians. No more. It is a libertarian nationalist movement that begins this Saturday in Denver, Colorado. On Saturday night, Austin Peterson gives the speech for the ages. It's the turning point, the fork in the road, the literal meme. Which way, Western man? Do you go towards saving civilization and defending the West? Or do you go towards barbarism? Do you human sacrifice? Which will it be? Which way, Western man? 10 ways that libertarians can save Western civilization this Saturday night in Denver, Colorado with this one weird trick. It's a weird trick. Join me live then on Saturday night for the dinner speech at the Libertarian Party of Colorado's convention, or join me live in person. Get your tickets today. And while you're saying, yeah, I think this got some ideas here, I kind of like it. How about a sane, rational, pro-West, pro-America, libertarian policy? That's the libertarian nationalist movement. Oh no! What if you went to forlibertyshop.com? What if you clicked on the blog? Would we be friends? What if we kissed after you read my Libertarian Nationalist Manifesto 2025 Revised Edition? How romantic. I wrote this manifesto first in 2024. The world has changed dramatically. In many ways, it's changed for the better. In some ways, for the worse. But the ones that are the worst are in our control. If, like Donald Trump, we are strong, and we are a strong liberty movement here. We be small, but we be mighty. Only 3% of American patriots fought the American Revolution. 3% fought against us, and the rest didn't care. If you're a patriot and you want to join the Liberty Nationalist movement, head to forlibertyshop.com, exit through the grift shop, support the movement, my sweet little pineapples, and make a purchase at the shop at forlibertyshop.com, exit through the grift shop. And we'll see you guys right back again here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show. And which network is that on? You thought it. I just didn't say it. But I'll see you here tonight with Daniela Pensack at rumble.com/Culturama. The hostess with the mostest, Daniela Pensack, will be live tonight. So don't miss it. Rumble.com/Culturama. And that's on the For Liberty Network. This time I said it. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Good show. Good show. Yeah.
The U.S. has done a lot for Arab dictators. For years, Democrats and Republicans have been seeking to give Saudi Arabia, the largest purchaser of American weapons in the world, a NATO-like defense pact. And Washington is drawing closer to Qatar, the Saudi kingdom's nearby frenemy. After pledging to defend Qatar last month, the Trump administration announced a new training facility for Qatari military pilots in Idaho last week. One of the many favors that the U.S. has given to these governments is helping to drown out dissenting voices. Documents given to the Washington Post by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists reveal. Over the past 3 years, U.S. officials led meetings of Middle Eastern countries to plan information operations, the documents show, and plan to create a combined Middle East Cyber Center and an Information Fusion Center to systematize these efforts. The documents were a series of PowerPoint presentations about the regional security construct, a secret US-led coalition which includes Israel, Qatar, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Kuwait and Oman were listed as potential partners whose officials were briefed about the coalition meetings. The Post's coverage focuses on the hypocrisy of the Arab states. While they denounced Israel's war in Gaza, those states were actively working with the Israeli military, including on-tunnel warfare training and air defense coordination. However, buried in the reporting is the revelation that those states are receiving direct American help in shaping their propaganda campaigns. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM officials were leading meetings on information operations to counter Iran's narrative that it is the regional protector of Palestinians, and according to a 2025 document, to propagate a partner narrative of regional prosperity and cooperation, the Post reports. And those American officials were working to expand these operations further, advocating for creating an ominously named Information Fusion Center to help coalition members rapidly plan, execute, and assess operations in the information environment. Arab states have put a lot of stock in the internet as a tool of domestic control. Many critics in the regional security construct countries have been reportedly tortured or even sentenced to death in the case of Saudi Arabia, simply for posting on social media. Despite knowing about the repression in Arab states, the US government has been happy to teach them more effective online surveillance tactics. In 2023, the U.S. State Department reported that Bahrain suffered from serious restrictions on internet freedom, and that the authorities there considered opposing the monarchy to be a terrorist act. The following year, the State Department trained Bahraini police on how to track operations recruiting and disinformation by terrorists on social media. The State Department insisted to reason at the time that the trainees would be vetted for human rights violations in accordance with U.S. law, and that the U.S. consistently raises human rights issues with senior Bahraini officials. Publicly, CENTCOM admits to carrying out military information support operations, including countering disinformation, as part of trans-regional cooperation to counter state and non-state actors posing a threat to U.S. interests. It insists that these operations are implemented in accordance with U.S. public law and Department of War, DOW policy guidance. But other leaks suggest that U.S. propaganda operations in the Middle East are a lot more sinister than the narrative of regional prosperity and cooperation described in official documents. In 2022, The Intercept obtained internal documents from Twitter showing that CENTCOM was running fake accounts, cheerleading the Saudi war effort in Yemen. Rather than countering disinformation, the U.S. military has been caught actively spreading it, including rumors about Iranian doctors stealing organs and Chinese vaccines being made with pork. It's hard to tell exactly what kind of new information Operation CENTCOM has in mind for the regional security construct. The coalition is secretive by design. Documents obtained by the Post promise to keep the cooperation in confidence and warn that participants must not photograph meetings or allow access to journalists. Worldwide, U.S. military propaganda efforts are a massive undertaking. The Defense Department is asking Congress for a military information support operations budget of over $209 million in FY 2026. It's safe to say that at least some of that money will make it easier for Middle Eastern dictators to control the information space.